If you've ever wondered what it's really like to move to a new country and rebuild your life from zero, I want to share my honest experience. Not just the highlights, but the real, difficult, and sometimes scary parts you rarely hear about.
5 years ago, I left the Middle East to move to Finland. My main reason wasn't just for a PhD or a career boost. It was because I wanted to live in a truly free world.
In the Middle East, you can actually have a good life in many ways. You have family, a familiar culture, and, if you're lucky, a certain level of comfort. But underneath all that are invisible limits. There are so many things you can't change, so many rules you can't question, and it feels like much of your future is already written for you. I wanted to know what it's like to live where you can ask questions, chase any dream, and build your life exactly the way you want, somewhere you can truly become anyone.
When I arrived in Finland, the excitement lasted about a week before the reality hit me hard.
The hardest part during my first year wasn't the weather or food or even missing home.
It was communication. English isn't my native language, and in my old life I had barely used it in the real world at all.
Suddenly, every interaction, from buying groceries to going to classes or sending emails, became a challenge. I felt awkward and exhausted after the simplest conversations because every word took conscious effort. Sometimes I worried that people couldn't understand me, or that they'd think I didn't belong. If you've only studied English in school or just read it online, it's a different world when you actually have to use it for everything, every day. I was very lucky that I came here with my wife. Having even one person at your side completely changes the experience. When things felt overwhelming, or when I questioned if I made the right decision, she was always there as a reminder of why we started this journey. Sometimes we both struggled, but we supported each other through every step. I honestly don't know how I would have managed the loneliness and the hard times alone. But at the same time, I firmly believe that no matter if you come alone or with family, you eventually find a way to adapt.
Humans are far tougher than we often realize.
You find new routines, new friends, and new strengths you didn't even know you had. But nothing compares to the moment when you hit a wall, and I really hit mine at the end of my first year. My PhD contract was ending, and my supervisor suddenly told me they had no money to keep supporting me. My entire future in Finland depended on that program. Without it, my residence permit would expire, and I'd have to return home with nothing to show for the year I had invested. The fear was overwhelming. For weeks, I genuinely thought I might have to give up. I sent hundreds of job applications, updated my CV over and over, and faced constant rejection. Every day, I doubted myself more. Was I good enough? Was this all a giant mistake? But eventually, after all that uncertainty and stress, something changed. I got a job offer. It wasn't magic or luck, but the result of stubbornly trying again and again.
And after that, everything started slowly falling into pieces.
The biggest misconception people have about moving abroad is that happiness comes quickly, as if just changing countries will solve all your problems. The truth is, the emotional roller coaster is real, and it can last much longer than you expect. Sometimes you'll miss the strangest things from home. The smell of familiar streets, the ease of speaking your own language, even the ordinary chaos you once complained about. Suddenly, small moments teach you how much your identity is shaped by where you came from, and how much you're changing each day. With time, you learn to celebrate the small victories. When you make your first local friend, when you handle paperwork without help, or when you realize you've slowly stopped translating everything in your head. These milestones might seem small to outsiders, but to you, they're proof that you're not just surviving. You're finally building a real life in your new home.
Starting from scratch in a new country is terrifying. You lose your old safety nets, your professional network, your comfort zone, the familiar rules.
But as you rebuild bit by bit, you discover the true power of freedom. In Finland, I realized you really can reinvent yourself and pursue whatever you want. It's not about salary or job title. It's about knowing that your life is yours to shape. Most people around the world will never have that chance, and I'm truly grateful for it. Looking back, I can honestly say that moving abroad was the hardest thing I've ever done. The stress, the language struggles, the fear of failure, None of it was easy. But none of it was wasted either. The challenge forced me to grow, to build resilience, and to understand what really matters. If you ever get the opportunity to move to a country where you're free to become whoever you want, even if it means starting completely over, I think you should take it. You'll find out what you're really capable of, and you'll never look at life the same way again. If my story connects with you, or you're facing your own tough transition now, let me know in the comments.
I try to read every message, I try to answer to you, and try to make my videos better and better, because I believe that we shouldn't feel alone in this world if you're experiencing the same thing. So please let me know if you like this kind of videos, this kind of editing, this kind of content, so I can, improve it step by step every video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.